Hello, this is Cindy from Cinders Papercraft. First of all, I would like to apologise for the fact that I haven't got round to filming this yesterday. Some of my subscribers will know that I have significant health problems, and yesterday unfortunately I was rather unwell and a bit bedbound. I am 45 years old and I have quite, as I say, significant health problems, and my back recently was MRI'd, and I have bad back issues as well, which doesn't usually bother me. I crack on, so that isn't a problem. But I have been told that there is absolutely nothing they can do for my health issues now except to help me with pain control, which is rather worrying because, as I say, I'm 45 and I am on the maximum dose of painkillers that I can be. Now, I'm not telling you this for sympathy. I consider myself very blessed that I have the ability to walk, to see and to hear. I'm simply telling you because there will be times when I am quite restricted, and if I don't do something on the day, I want you to understand I'm not doing it because I'm being lazy. Crafting is the only thing that has saved my sanity. And I think there are a lot of people who craft that have these issues. My hands still are very restricted, so I'm hoping that won't impact my ability to show you how to do these. Right, so there we are. That definitely isn't for sympathy. Really, truly not. It's just to explain why I didn't get it done. Right, now to get rid of all that rubbish, this one I have made up is the American A4. I absolutely adore this. I haven't put in the actual divider sheets yet, because I'm going to show you on a smaller version. So I love these colours. I absolutely love them. So unusual, really unusual. So that's sky blue and that is plum, perfect plum. I absolutely adore it. It came out perfectly. So I am going to show you the measurements for this because we are going to be making a smaller one, but it is going to be done exactly the same. And if you find that you don't understand how to do this one, I will show you. If I get time at the end of this, I will show you how to do this one. Right, so as this is for USA and Canada, I have done it in what we call Imperial. And I just want to explain this. So this is the cardstock you're going to need and to score. Now, if you're not using DSP, if you're just doing what I've done, which is used white cardstock and then you stamp it yourself, you might need to put a bit of reinforcement in places. It depends how thick your card is. This one that I used wasn't really very thick at all. So I did use some of this to put in some reinforcement. If you're using Stampin' Up card, you'll probably be fine, but put some DSP on top or reinforce. These are coming out so perfectly. Just wanted to show you how strong they are. So they're the sizes. If you don't get how to put that together, I will show you. But this is my original one. The one that I absolutely loved, and that is 7 3/8 by 6 3/8. But I just want to show you, I can lift it up. It is really strong. That holds 1 kilo, and I just want to show you what actually fits inside. So let me take this out. So I have used my punches to cut out so I can see if like a sentiment or picture is going to fit in them. Okay, so I have my layering cardstock cut down for cards. I have projects that I'm halfway through. Okay. I have cards that are sort of nearly there and ready to go. I just need to finish them. What else do we have? I have ones that I need to finish and put sentiments on. I have inserts to go into my cards. I have a finished card. I have all my bits and pieces that I have embossed. As you can see, there's a stack there. Here are all my embossing folders, so I can see which look I like. And here are other projects that I'm working on. I love doing inlaid dies, so you can see that it holds stacks. It holds stacks. So let me move that out of the way. But what I'm saying is they are very strong. Very strong. You might need to reinforce them. That's up to you. Right, so this one here is the one we're going to be doing. It's very difficult. Now this is for, I can't remember your name, lovey. Oh, that's going to annoy me. But this is for embossing folders. I'm making a slightly larger one because this one was the one I was hoping to fit all sizes in, like the 6x6. But this is when you find that it's getting a bit full. I've made it so that it can open up and become a box, like so. If you don't like the inserts, you can simply put in a piece of card that will span from there to there and use it as a box. Now I want to show you how many I've got in here. Right, so I have my 3D. Right, so if I just count this, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Wow. So I've done those in the different sizes that I have. So you can see that all these are the different sizes. That is the 5x7. This one I am going to be able to fit the 6x6s in. So let me now get rid of all this. And, excuse me, that was rather silly. I am only going to show you the basics because you'll either make up your own paper or you'll put paper on. So I have chosen Sweet Sugar Plum. I hope that I tried to pick a colour that you might see. So this one, and the reason I've left this blank is because I sized it up. I'm not entirely sure what the reinforcement bottom will be. So there is Imperial and there is Metric. Okay, I will let you look at that for 1 second, and you are going to, I'm going to move those just to the side, I think. Hopefully that is getting everything on. Yeah, that should be. Right, so I've done this in 11 by 8 1/4, so everyone should be able to do these no matter what country you're from. And I have scored at, on this one, well, both of them are exactly the same, so I don't need to do that. The score marks are on there. But you are simply going to put score marks at these measurements. Right, so let me move that one. So we are just going to burnish these lines. I absolutely love these. The next one I'm going to be doing is going to be the UK size A4, and I have lovely plans for this. Oop. I may not be able to go as fast, so this might end up being a slightly longer tutorial, but I will try my hardest to do this at a good pace. Now you might notice that the paper, the pattern I used on that one, I've done that on white card, as I always do my prototypes, but I fell in love with it so much, then rather than do another one, all as I done was I literally inked around the edge of there and then around the edge of there, and I thought that looked lovely. On here I did do the roses slightly different. Let me show you very briefly, because you obviously saw that I stamped one layer of the pink before and then put the red over the top. And this time I literally put on my powder pink or whatever colour and twist, and then I'm going to turn it at exactly the opposite, because that's got the flat line and that's got the flat line, and twist it. It just gives it more definition. You can do it again and again, but you will notice that I don't have to line this up anyway. And there, that's absolutely lovely, and it's a much fuller pattern, so I was very pleased with that. Sorry, I've just got to get that off. I don't like stained stamps, although they're going to regardless. Right, so that's how I done that one, and I think it gave a much fuller stamp. As you can see, compared to that, that's probably not a great, it's not showing through on camera, but right, so what we are going to do is, this is going to be the top bit that's going to go over, and these are going to be the bottom bits, because these two bits are going to meet there, and that is going to give us the 6-inch bottom, which is why we need that. I can measure that now. Oh, I can measure that now. So that is going to be 7 3/4. No, 6 3/4. So this one will be able to fit my 6x6s in, which is lovely. So that is 6 3/4 of an inch. And where is my sheet? So 6 3/4 is 17.2 centimetres. There. So let me move that out of the way, and then I will trim. Is that bit the 6-inch? No, the other one is by 6 3/4, and that just gives the bottom a bit of reinforcement. So now this will literally be the same. I need to move that now so I have space. This is exactly the same way that you are going to do the the larger one. But as I say, if you're stuck on that, I can do a tutorial on that. Right, so as usual, we are just going to take out these score lines. These bits here are for reinforcement because you do not want this to fall apart, and I would say that using either wet glue or adhesive tape, double-sided tape, is going to be the way to go. I wouldn't use fuse because of the amount of weight you are going to have on. Right, now one of these, let me think. See, that one's going to go onto there, like so. So I actually, on one of these pieces, let me move this out of the way. So on one of these pieces, you've notched it, but what we're going to do is just cut inside of that line, okay? And we are going to cut all the way up I wonder if I leave that on. Right, I should really have done this in the trimmer. You're going to need to cut that a slight bit off the score line. Let me show you. See, with that, that's the score line. We're just taking off a bit because the other bit is going to go over. No, we don't need that. Probably find out we do, but if I do that, and the only reason I should actually have measured that bit, which will be 6.5 or just over by 11, but I'd rather do it that way myself. So that is going to sit in there, and then that is going to fold over to reinforce that. Now that will leave a gap here, but if you're covering it with paper, it won't show, because that's what I did. I got some white paper and done it, so you can't see where the join was. Okay, I didn't do that straight. I just used plain white card and then done it. So we are now going to take out these score lines. And sorry if this is taking slightly longer. But I just find that crafting has completely helped me through, because all the while I'm crafting, I find I don't feel as much pain as if I'm just sitting around doing nothing. Right, so we are going to put some tape on these, or you can put glue. What I would do, shall I? No, I'm going to use glue. It's probably not a good idea because it's probably going to be hard on my hands. I hope you're all having a wonderful Sunday. Our weather here is not very nice. Did I? Yeah. So I'm going to line that up with this line here and try and get it as straight as you can, and just glue that down. So that will then fold over, and then that will disappear. Right, so before we go any further, I'm going to glue this panel on. Tombow will be fantastic for this, or the glue of your choice, because I do find it amazing that everyone has their glue of choice and everyone thinks that their glue is the best. It does make me laugh, but it's very true. The glue you use is obviously the best. Right, so that is what it's looking like, and we are just going to do the same there, like that. Now I happen to like this Cosmic Shimmer because it sticks well and it dries matte, but with Tombow, get it everywhere but on there, with Tombow, which is lovely, you can actually add it to your items, put them to one side, and it turns into glue dots, so it doesn't bleed through onto your project. And that was a tip from the lovely Cheryl B, who has a YouTube channel, and she is an American Stampin' Up demonstrator. A very, very clever one. Right, so now on this one, I am just going to cheat. Am I going to cheat? No. Right. Show you the right way, because then I know it will last. Trim these down. So this will then become the front of your box. Now, if you scale the sizes down, which I am actually going to do, I'm going to do one that holds cards. And if you don't have many embossing folders, you can always use the tabs to put labels on, so that you can see at a glance where they are. I should have left them on there, but again, I am not going to stress about it at all. I am just going to put some glue on there and on there. The only trouble is with this glue is you have to go very fast. Right, so that is the 6-inch. So I'm going to marry it up to that line on that one, and then I am going to marry it up to that score line and fold them over, which is why I should have left those bits on. It isn't the end of the world, and if I found that annoyed me, I would just put a second one underneath. The reason I have gone for leaving these bits on is because I honestly think that every single bit of reinforcement can only help keep everything moving. There. So there you are. And that is, see, that one had, that's the bottom. It's stuck down just fine. So I'm not going to stress about that. So that bit there is going to then look like that. Okay, see, not too bad. Now my magnets, the reason I did the two closures where you can either have it like that or like that is because, like any crafter, you might see something and think I want it, and it might not fit in there anymore, so you can then extend it. So I think the best thing for me to do is to pop on two of these magnets, which I'm going to use a glue dot for. Where are they? There. And I am going to pop that fairly close to the edge because I'm going to want to clip it to this bit if I go past the maximum storage on it just being on this little bit. I'm sure you know what I mean. Right, so I am going to then add two to the small bit. Oh, these are really strong. Oh, nope. Well, how about that? I'm going to leave that to one side for now. Right, let's be sensible. Add them on there. They really are strong. Now, on all my tutorials, I get asked where I get them from. If you search on Amazon, they are called N for Norman 35, and then put in 50 magnets, and then that will bring them up. And they are £1.60 for 50. They do not come from this country, so do take a week or so, and I have never had any problems with them. Right, so I am going to line that up with that line there and give that a squeeze, and then that's done. Now I am going to do exactly the same. So sit it down. Ooh, sit it down, and you can see where it will naturally sit. We are then going to take a magnet and let it find its own position, and then I'm going to make sure that bit is sitting right to the top, and I am going to then knock the camera there, find its mate. Now I don't necessarily want to put a dot on that, especially in my current state. So what we are going to do is, can you see this? This is going to be a bit tricky. I'm just going to move that slightly out of the way and then just put a big glob of glue in the area where I think it is, and then just wipe the excess away. And I am going to do the same here. So move it slightly, make sure that again is right up to where it should be. There. Now the joy about this glue is it dries completely matte, so you will not see that. Right, so I will give those a bit longer to dry. So that is exactly the same as how you would do the American and Canadian A4. So I have a feeling that that might confuse people. So as I say, I am happy to do a tutorial on that. if you don't understand. But I will be doing the UK version, which will be the same. Now to the scoreboard, let me explain this. You are going to need 2 strips to do these bits. Now I always leave a gap here, because if you do that all the way down to the bottom, it will distort this. It won't freely move. But it's up to you if you want to take that bit right to the bottom. I don't like that at all. So what I used was a 12 by 12 sheet and cut it in half. So I had a 6-inch wide gap. But you can definitely use an A4 and score it. So, sorry, I really thought I was prepared for this, and it turns out I wasn't. So, I'm going to cut that in half. I'm only going to do one with you, but I will explain something really simple. Right, now I always use my wax paper. It makes this glide easier, which makes my life easier. Now on this one here, I made that 3/8 of an inch. So I scored every 3/8 of an inch, because I have a lot of embossing folders, and that isn't all of them. So this one, when I finished it, will be one that I will use. The smaller the smaller the width, obviously, the more you'll get in there. I can't work in 1/4 of an inch. My hands won't take it, and I wouldn't advise it. But if you found that you wanted to have a bigger gap, you can do 1/2 inch. It's absolutely up to you. There's no reason why you couldn't store, like I did, 3 or 4 in one. So on that note, I am going to do this one at 1/2 inch. So you are literally, nice and simply, scoring at 1/2 inch. To see how easily that glides. If you can get hold of some wax paper, I would really advise that for scoring. A piece of wax paper lasts for ages and ages, so you don't need to have a massive amount, because once you've used one side, you fold it and use the other, and then you carry on just folding it. You'll probably find that you only need one piece for months and months of use. Right, so that there is it. So you will then score these, burnish them. So you're going to do a better job than me. So you are going to fold them in opposite directions, and I'll show you what I mean in just one second. Most of you will know how to do this, but a beginning crafter might not. So you're going to do that all the way down, so you have what they call the mountain and the valley, mountain valley. So you are going to do that all the way down, and you can just work your way down. Now my other tip, actually I should have done this because it would have been handy to show you. Right, I'm going to stop talking because hopefully I'll find a way to fast forward this. Or not. Right, well, you will do this properly and I am not. But I have been crafting a very long time. and it's really hard to remember to not show bad habits. Now I found that I had 15 sections from a piece of 12 by 12, and that was at the 3/8 of an inch. Right, so I'm only going to do the one. You are going to put double-sided tape on both of those. So you are going to want to put the double-sided tape up to this line, not the other one, to that one. Okay, and you're going to do the same there. Oop. Right, so I'm going to put that back together, and I'm going to give that one hard score. Right, so now to fit this, you are going to fit it to this big bit, okay, and to the other big bit. So let me fold that so you can see where I am. So that is the flap, that is the width, and this is where you are going to store things. Now what I done was, like I say, I leave a gap. It is completely up to you if you want the paper to go all the way to the bottom. I personally wouldn't want to do that. So you are going to peel off the tape, which I've done a stellar job in getting that straight. So let me just... And you are going to have that flat bit facing down, okay, so you're going to have it going that way, and I am going to leave a gap because I might want to put tabs on these, so I would say about, I'll measure it afterwards, see, I eyeball things. Right, so I'm going to pop that down, hold the rest, because you are going to want to make sure this goes on straight, like so. Now the reason you might be thinking, well, that's not straight, that's the bit that overlaps it. And then you will then get the other end, which is going to be a little tricky, but we'll do it. So there's your standing up bit. So you're going to peel your tape off, okay, and best way to do this, to show you, it's not the best way for me to do it, is to take that to about there, make sure your finger's holding that away, and line that up. Ooh, I nearly was making a boo-boo. Right. And then you'll be doing this at home, so you won't need to be pulling things around. Okay, and there is your very floppy thingy, which will improve once you have paper in. But what I wanted to show you, and this is going to be rather difficult, is when this one's on and you have your sheet of papers, you are going to have another one there. You are going to lay this down, okay, see if I can maybe show you, and just pretend that this is the sheet that's going in. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do this. You're going to put, I would use double-sided tape on each side or glue. So you're going to put that in there, and you are going to line that up while it's on the flat, and you will be able to glue it properly then. I have seen people try desperately this way to get it, which is still well and good because you can push against it, but when you start getting to here, it becomes a little more difficult. But you may do it how you like to do it. So that there can either become a box and have a rigid piece of card there, but it does mean you won't be able to use it as a expanding file, or you will then clip it together and it becomes an expanding file. What have they done there? Well, I'm a silly moo. Do you see what I've done? When you do this, when you do this, to put these two magnets on, make sure that this flap here is folded down so that you can then marry them up to that bit. Okay, I will put a piece on the bottom there just to reinforce that, and I will remove the magnets that I've put a little too high. See, look, magnificent, eh? I bet someone was sitting there thinking, uh-oh, what she's done. So I will now go away, finish this and put some decorations on there, and when I upload this you will see the finished item, and that is how it's done. I'm only doing the basics because you know how to do, you know how to put paper on, or to stamp your own images onto whatever colour card. If you do that, let me show you this. This is one I have previously done. Excuse me. And when my hands are bad, I use these because I can hold them. This has got real red in. All you'll do is just go along and lay down some colour on the edge, because that actually does make a nice difference compared to there. Do you see what I mean? You don't have to put a huge border on it, but I think that makes such a difference to just plain. But again, the choice is yours. Right, so that is what it will end up looking like ish, because I will put paper on that that's slightly different. So that is what you end up with, which I think is quite lovely. I'm in love with this stamp set, in love with it, absolutely love it. And this one here is made in exactly the same way. I have a feeling I might need to do a tutorial on this, but when I do our UK A4, you'll see that as long as you take these bits and you overlap them like we just done, that is how you will do those. That will be how you will give it the strength. And this is really is a strong box. It's very firm. So yeah, use the measurements I gave you and use the method of what that one is, and also use the method that I'm going to show you on our version. So I hope that makes sense. And what I will say is I am now going to reinforce this bottom because that's annoying me. Right, okay. I'm now going on to do the UK version. So, oh, and this one, did I show you? I used the masking method to do that. Absolutely gorgeous. I love these colours. I tried to use a blue and a violet, and this was the This was the only one that I come up with that I loved, and that was only because it looked really different. Right, so I'm going on to make the other one. You will see pictures of the one that I've just done completed, and I will see you soon. So thank you for spending part of your day with me, and I hope to see you fairly soon in the next tutorial. Thank you very much. Bye.